Well, hello, friends. We are going to be doing another pretty quick video today. I want to talk about um, probably the most important part of being an author, but only because it's really the most important part of anything that you do. It's really pretty simple. The the principle is that of relentless improvement. It's the idea that setbacks are a chance to learn, and that every failure is really just an opportunity to move one step closer to what you are trying to achieve. Right? It is this mindset of inevitable success, that by simply moving forward, you will eventually succeed. And every opportunity that you have, even if it doesn't turn out the way you hoped it would, is really a chance to improve, to refine, to move closer to your ultimate goal, right? And this is an easy mindset to express, and an incredibly hard mindset to actually put into practice. So today I want to talk about how, in your writing career, to put it into practice. First of all, this mindset requires tremendous fortitude. It is something that requires being willing to suffer and being willing to just accept that you are not as good as you thought you were, and that you have to improve, and then to put in the actual time and effort to practice and actually improve, right? But the contradiction of failure is that failure is a success. Every failure is a success, right? If you can learn. And so it's not easy, but if you release a book and it doesn't sell, good. You have now learned, or you should have learned, at least something that you shouldn't do. It's really, you have to be pretty blind to look at a failure that you have released and not see something that could be improved. And so when you fail, one of the most important things to do is to then self-reflect on it, right? That is the first step in this applying this principle to your writing career. It's to just spend the time, and this is often very hard, but it is to spend the time to actually reflect on what you did wrong or what you could have done better. So let me give you an example. A couple of days ago, I woke up and I thought to myself, I'm going to write, and I'm going to write a lot. I'm going to get a bunch done. And then, by the end of the day, I looked back over my day and I realized I had just completely failed. I'd not written anything. Like literally nothing. 0 words. And so instead of being like, man, I should have written, and I can't believe I didn't do that, and man, I'm such a failure. Instead, I said, okay, that's strange. Why didn't I write today? What happened that made it so hard for me to write? I know I need to write. I know I want to write. Why didn't I write? So I took the time to actually examine this. Which, it's interesting, but curiosity turns out to be the most important pillar of this whole principle. Being curious about the world and about yourself and about your circumstances and about why you do what you do is a huge advantage, right? So I had this question, okay, I didn't write, what did I do? What didn't I do? And so I took the time to actually sit down and write it out. And it was just, some bullet points. If you journal, you're probably familiar with this, but it can be really helpful to just, write a couple of lines. What did I do? What distracted me? What got in the way? What was avoidable? What was unavoidable? And once I had done that, it became really clear that I knew exactly why I hadn't written, and the reasons I had not written were partially within my control. That is to say, they were avoidable. And since they are avoidable, right? Since I'm reading them in black and white and they are avoidable, that means that tomorrow I can avoid them. I can do better. I can improve. I know I've talked about it on this channel before, but James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, has this really great insight that if you get 1% better every day, by the end of the year, you will be 37 times better, right? So 1% of improvement equals 37 times better by the end of a year. That's the compounding effect of continual improvement or relentless improvement. The first step, again, is to write down, okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? And if you're not going to write it down, at least think about it. And then identify what's in your control and what's out of your control. Because on that list were a bunch of things that were completely outside of my control. I didn't have the ability to determine when they happened. I didn't have the ability to determine what my response to them was going to be because there were just responsibilities that I had to do. But the answer to the question of why I didn't write is really a mixture of things inside my control and things outside of my control. So what do I want to do? I want to fix the things that are inside of my control. So in this case, the next day, I picked something from that list and I worked on controlling it, right? I worked on trying to improve. And the result was that I did write the next day. I didn't get as much writing done because there were still a lot of things outside of my control that I had to deal with. Life's been just crazy recently. But I was able to get some writing in because I was paying attention, because I was trying to improve and trying to fix the problems that I could control, or the distractions that I could control. So with this, I mentioned before that curiosity is a really important thing if you're going to hold this mindset. And the other thing that's really important to hold on to is understanding the difference between the gap and the gain. And I have a video on this that I've done before, but I think it's worth reiterating here. If you are constantly looking to see how far you are away from your goal, you're pretty much always going to get depressed, right? I wanted to write 10,000 words. I wrote 0 words. That's awful. That's incredibly depressing. But if instead you're looking for the gain, right? Instead of staring at the gap between you and what you're trying to achieve, if instead you're focusing on the gain, what did I do today that was good? Well, I dealt with a crisis and I identified some of the things that are standing in the way of my writing, and I've committed myself to improving. Okay, good. I have gained something, right? I have made progress. Even if it wasn't progress where I wanted to make progress, that's okay. I have gained, right? So identifying the gain is going to help with gratitude. It's going to help you maintain a more positive perspective. It's going to help motivate you to continually improve, right? To close that gap. But you do that by focusing on the gain. So those are the two things that I would say are really vital. First, curiosity, and then the second is having the right perspective in focusing on the gain instead of the gap. And if you can do those things, then continuous improvement, relentless improvement is within your reach. Anyway, that's the video. So if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below, and I'll see you in the next one.